Hey guys, we are here getting ready to go live. Let's just wait and make sure everything goes live here on Keys to the Kitchen. Hey, it's working. Okay, we're going live right now on Keys to the Kitchen. This is our first live stream. We've done a few run-throughs before, but nothing real that's going to stay up. And we're going to also make this into a video so it'll last forever in a more condensed version, because this is supposed to be fun and we're supposed to talk together and just chat and pretend like you're just hanging out in our kitchen. So since this is our first live stream, I wanted to tell you kind of the concept of what we're doing here at Keys to the Kitchen. What we are trying to do, what we want to do, is show how you can make just really good home cooking every night, year after year, week after week, year after year, for a family, for yourself, for friends, whatever. But this is different than going to a recipe book and making just a great complicated meal maybe once a month or once every 6 months or whatever. We're trying to show you that you can make delicious meals every night. Doesn't have to be super hard, doesn't have to be super fast, but it can be really yummy and good. We'll try to show you some tips and tricks of the way that we've done it, because I personally have cooked probably close to 40 years as a home cook for a family, and there are lots of great home cooks out there. We are so underappreciated because we do it. We are chefs of the home, I'll put it that way. We deserve the credit that the famous chefs get. Anyway, today we are going to make a delicious spaghetti and meatballs recipe. It's basically Ina Garten's recipe. I'm sure you all know Ina. If you don't, she is just a beloved chef from the Northeast. Everything she makes, or every recipe I've ever seen of hers that I've made, is just yummy, and we do a lot of that in our house. But we're going to try to do it maybe a little bit more simple than she makes it. And then this is the key. We're going to try to do it, well, less than an hour. So I'm going to set the timer in just a second, and we're going to try to create this whole dinner in less than an hour. So we'll see. So here we go. I am going to, oh, whoops, here we go. I have this step stool here. I do not want to fall over on that. So I'm going to set the timer for 1 hour, and we're going to start there. Oh, that's 1 minute. Sorry. Off. Timer 1 0. Whoa. How do you do 1 hour? Oh, I guess I have to do 60 minutes. Okay. Timer 6. Off. Off. Timer 6. Off. Off. Okay. Timer. Enter time. 60. 60. We're going to go one more. Pause. Off. Timer 6. Timer 60. I think that's 60 minutes. We shall see. Yep, that's 60 minutes. So that's what we're doing. And then we're going to try to get it all done by then and eat dinner after that. Okay, but before we do that, I got to get a glass of wine because the recipe calls for wine, so we need to have it open anyway, right? So this is, here we go. How's everybody doing today? I wonder if anybody's watching. Let's see if anybody is, we'll see if anybody's, I'm seeing if there's any live, nah, I don't see anybody. Oh well, that's okay. Everybody can visit with me later, okay? So I got to tell you this wine that we got today. It's called Parducci, and it's something that we found in Colorado because we spend half our time in Colorado and half here in Texas. And we found it at this great little local beer and wine place. And then I found it here in Dallas too at Central Market, which is a great grocery store. I don't know if you're from Texas, you know about Central Market and H-E-B, but it's the best. Anyway, so this is what we got, some Parducci. It was about $14 in Colorado, $9 here, so I stocked up on it. But anyway, we can use it in the sauce in a few minutes too, but I think we just need to kind of get going. It's a rainy day here, late in the afternoon, so why not? I'm gonna have a little sip here, see how it is. It's fine. It tastes like wonderful Parducci. Okay, so we will start with the recipe now. So the deal is that we are going to we're going to make meatballs in a sauce, and then we're going to cook the spaghetti too. So that's kind of the plan. I will put the recipe up on keys-to-the-kitchen.com later today, along with the video. I'm going to kind of condense it so it, live stream, it's kind of stream of consciousness a lot of time. But I will kind of try to condense it and make it a little more coherent. But I will definitely put the recipe on there for you all. And hopefully you can make it yourself sometime. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. First, what I might do just to kind of get things organized is I'm going to go on and fill the water in the pan for the spaghetti at the very last. I'm going to go on and put water in there. And I bought some really good spaghetti. I'll tell you about it in a little while. But kind of splurged on it. Oh, by the way, it's raining here, and it might start thundering too. So if you start hearing loud booms, I hope that's all it is. I think it should be all it is. Okay, I have put some water in there, and sorry I don't have two cameras right now. We're gonna get two cameras, but not today. And then I'm going to put some salt in. You're supposed to make salt. You're supposed to put tons of salt in when you boil pasta, and it's supposed to taste as salty as seawater. So you can imagine how salty that is. So I just put a bunch in there, and then we'll get that hot and going later. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the meatballs. And what it takes is a half pound of veal, a half pound of pork, and then a whole pound of ground beef. So I'm going to go get those and bring them back, and then we're going to add some yummy stuff to it that really makes it so flavorful and juicy. And I don't know why these are so good. I think because we end up frying them, and then they kind of soak up in the tomato sauce. But these, to me, are the best meatballs I've ever had. And I would say, even going out to dinner in a nice restaurant, these cannot be beat. So let me go get the ground beef and the pork and the veal and all that. And we'll do that. And then I'm going to get an onion while I'm here in the fridge. Let's see. Let's see where I am. Oh, here I am. How's everybody over there? I wish somebody would send me some information, like what's going on in your life. I'm just bringing this whole thing over here so you're not staring at an empty kitchen for a while. So this is ground pork. I think it's a whole pound. So I'm going to cut that in half. Ground veal, or no, veal. Veal is here. And then ground chuck. Oh gosh, which one should I do? The lean or the not lean? you know what, I'm gonna do half and half because I'm gonna make something else for you guys later on this week that also takes some ground beef. So I've washed my hands so they're all clean. So what we do is we're going to, I'm putting the ground, it's a pound of ground beef. And what this is, I've got 90% lean ground beef and then 80% lean ground beef. And I just want to mix them both because I like to have a little fat in my beef. It just makes it more flavorful. So I'm just going to mix these two together and then, cover them back up and put them in the fridge and use them the rest of it later. Ground pork. Let's see here. Gonna have to, I only use half of this too, so I'll probably just use half of it and put the rest in the freezer, and it'll be, I can think of lots of good things it would be good with. And with summer coming up, I mean, you could grill some, wonderful things with this. But see this, I can just already tell by feeling. It's got lots of good fat in it, which is good for just giving flavor to the meatballs. So, last meat we add is this ground veal. And, this is kind of the most expensive way and the most complicated way to make this recipe. You could use all beef, ground beef. That would work absolutely fine. It's not gonna make that much of a difference. But I'm just doing it her way because it's just yummy. That's why. Okay, so then what we do, we add some yummy things into it, and then we're going to mix it all together. So next thing we have to add is 4 slices of white bread, fresh breadcrumbs. So it's 4 slices of bread, and then we're going to process them in the food processor and make crumbs. So, you know what? I'm just using leftovers. Leftover pieces of bread. And I'm not going to take the crusts off. That is way too much trouble. And we got only 50 minutes left. So this is, let's see, I've got 1 piece of bread here and then 3 here, so this will do it. It calls for 4 cups. I think that'll be right. All right. I'll be fine. So those will be good. Oh, I hope we make it because I'm already talking too much. Let's see, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to put the food processor here and process this a little bit. And really this whole series is for people who aren't really familiar with cooking. Whoops, there we go. This is a new food processor that I got. I got it last spring. Probably, I can't remember, maybe last summer. I haven't had it that long. So what I'm going to do is, it's pretty dry, not a problem. It's actually a good use for it. I'm going to just put those in there and I'm going to pulse it a bit. There. That did not. Okay, I'm going to do that a little bit more. I'll add this one in there. Just going to kind of crumble it in there so it processes better. And I'm wondering if this one's softer. It may do better. Uh-oh, guess what? Don't tell anybody. It has mold on it. Yikes. Well, good use for it, right? As long as we don't give anybody any of the mold. Okay, let's try this again. We won't pulse, we'll just do it. So that's the thing about being a home cook versus a professional cook. You know, I had my food license, and food license, to get that, you have to know so much about what makes something unhealthy to eat, you know, what temperatures things should remain out, like meat and all that. And it's just all about being really clean, which is great. You should be that way. But on the other hand, home cooks, I think, I mean, I'm not advocating this, but I think, for instance, I saw a little mold on that bread, but I just took it out. I'm using the rest of the bread. Don't tell anybody. Okay. So we need 1 cup of breadcrumbs. This is way more than 1 cup. I actually, and here's a cup right here. I actually may put more than 1 cup in, because to me, it's this softness of the breadcrumbs really makes the meatballs kind of tender and kind of melt in your mouth. Okay, so, and you'll notice I am not being exact. You know, with baking you have to be exact, but with meat and vegetables, a lot of it's just taste. Anyway, so I put in 3 bread slices, and it was more than enough. So I've already put in extra. I'm going to put in just a little bit more. Okay, so I put that in. We put in 1/4 cup dry breadcrumbs. I'll go get those. Over here, let's see, I know I have some, but I gotta find them. They're over here. I should have gotten them out, sorry. Here they are. And once again, you know, if you don't have dry breadcrumbs, don't worry about it. Don't stress. There are, you know, it will be wonderful even if you don't have those. So then what you do is you just mix all this up together. So I am going to, probably eventually I'm going to use my hands and just do it together. But right now I'm just going to use a fork and try to mash kind of all the meat up and get it going. Okay, time to use my hands. Here we go. Because I want it all mixed up, you know. I don't want it, the pork on 3 meatballs and the meat on, you know, beef on the other. We're gonna get it all good and mixed together. And then we're going to put some more stuff in too. So I'm going to do some more mixing. And with meat, you don't want to mix it too much or it gets tough. But I do want it to get mixed. So I'm doing it moderately mixed. I'll put it that way. And make, you know, just see things are getting moderately mixed. Ooh, but there's lots of pork right there. I don't know. Okay, here we go. Also have to add some grated Parmesan cheese. It's a 1/2 cup of that. Okay, I'm going to do that next. But first I better wash my hands quickly. So did everybody have a good St. Patrick's Day? Did you go out? Or maybe you just couldn't. Or, it depends on where you are, you know? Like in Florida, I guess it's crazy. There are so many people there out and about in Miami for spring break and just not wearing masks. And other places are still really locked down. So I sense, though, that things are getting a little bit more open, right? Okay, 1/2 cup of Parmesan and an egg. So I'll get the egg while I'm in there. 2. egg, and Parmesan. And again, if I feel like I want a little bit extra Parmesan in it, I just go for it. I don't think there's any reason not to. Of course, there's nothing better than good Parmesan, so maybe I'll just add a little extra of that too. Okay, so the hardest part of this is we have to cook the meatballs. We have to fry them. Okay, so that's a little bit over half, but that's fine. Okay, so there's that. And then we're gonna add some salt and pepper and nutmeg. And the nutmeg is what really kind of gives this a unique taste. So here's my nutmeg, and it calls for 1/4 teaspoon. So I'm just gonna, oops, that was probably more. It's probably more, but so what? Pepper and salt, and a lot of salt is a good idea. They say 2 teaspoons. Let's see. You know, I should probably get my teaspoon going in my little teaspoon bowl, but I don't have that right now. Okay, and then I'm going to mix that, and then the final thing is we mix an egg in there. But I'm going to do this first, and then we'll do the egg, and then we're going to fry it all. Then we we don't have to fry it all the way through because it's going to simmer in the sauce too, and it'll cook in there, and it just gets delicious. It absorbs all those wonderful tomato flavors, garlic, all that. Okay, so now I'm going to put this in. I'm going to here, I'll just do this. Stir that up a bit. And then I'll clean up while we're frying, because it does take a few minutes to do that. Okay, and you know, as I said, I'm so sorry we still don't have another camera going. This is our first time. I'm doing this by myself. Did you know that? Probably didn't. You can probably tell. Hopefully we'll get somebody to help do the production, help me with the cameras. You know, a lot of people, cooks, have like a husband or a friend doing it, but I'm doing it by myself. Anyway, we'll see. Okay, so this is pretty well, you know, I think you know what I've forgotten? The recipe I have calls for a little water, and I'm gonna put some hot water in there. That's funny that this recipe that I saw online doesn't call for it, but definitely the one I have in her book does. So I'm putting just a little water in, just kind of just enough to make it kind of, how do I describe it? Just not so dense, I would say. And it'll be so moist and delicious. And you can tell I'm just kind of doing it by feel. Now, you will learn how to do that if you don't know how to do it now. You know, you don't want so much water in there that it's going to fall apart, but it's, you know, you want to make it a meatball and it'll keep in the meatball shape. But I can see that, I can feel it's just softer and moister. I may even add a little bit more water. But the addition of the water, the egg, and the breadcrumbs is what's going to make this, oh, and of course the Parmesan. It's just going to make it really good. Okay, so that's done. Let me wash my hands real quick, and then we're going to fry. And this is probably the hardest part of it, the longest part of it. So what it calls for is a combination of olive oil and vegetable oil. And the reason that is the vegetable oil has a higher burning temperature In other words, olive oil burns more quickly. So we want to make it, we kind of want to moderate that and make sure it can get a good crust on it. And we'll just do, let me kind of wash this out a bit. And then I'll put in a combination of olive oil and vegetable oil. Heat that up. And then, you know, the advantage of a big pan like this, a big frying pan like this, is that I can get lots of meatballs in it at one time. So I'm just going to make this, you know, 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of oil in the bottom. The meatballs absorb a lot of this oil, so I may have to add some more later too, but we'll get that going hot, and I'll start making some meatballs. Let me put this over here. You know what, I think it's time for a sip of wine too. Carducci's good. Okay, I will get a plate so we can put it out on the plate. In fact, I can use this plate. Okay, so I can use the plate later when I put them on a paper towel after they've cooked, kind of let the paper towel absorb the grease. I'm going to make them about this big. This is on the big side, but I like them that way. Now, I will say I bet some of them kind of fall apart. Not the end of the world. I mean, it's good no matter what. But, and they probably wouldn't fall apart if I didn't put so much water in them. But it'll be good no matter what. That's the key. Good ingredients. Usually it's yummy, and nobody knows the difference, except for you. That they were supposed to be meatballs and not meat sauce, right? Okay, so let's see if that's hot yet. I don't think it's hot yet. I'm going to give it a minute longer before I start putting these in. Darn, I don't know if I have one of those splatter screens here or not. We have one in Colorado. We use it all the time. Probably should get one for here, because it certainly makes cleaning up easier, doesn't it? So that's a lot. So I'm going to do about that. So let's see if this is hot yet. Oh, it's sizzling. It's not super hot, so I'm going to wait until I add the next one. These are going to be so good. I can't tell you. I hope you're hungry tonight. You haven't had a big lunch. Oh, wow. I'm watching the breaking news. Nothing too interesting. Okay. So I'm just going to start putting these in. I'll put a few in. And I'm just going to let them cook. I'm going to turn this down a bit. Like, it's almost, I'd say, medium high. It's not super high temperature, but it's not medium. It's on the high side of medium high. And how many of these are meatballs will it make? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Probably close to 20 meatballs. And they're big meatballs, you know? You could easily cook and serve, well, depending on how many people. I mean, 2 meatballs you could get away with, but probably closer to 3, 27. I bet you could feed 8 people with this. Anyway, so I'm just going to let those cook for a minute. I'm start cleaning up, because nobody wants to be, you know, that's my pet peeve, is I sit down and eat a great dinner, and then I'm all happy, I've talked with everybody, and it's just fun. And then you have to clean up, and I hate that. So I would much rather clean as we go along. That's my deal. I'm gonna keep this Parmesan out because we're gonna finish off with that. I'll just put it on the table. I am also going to save these breadcrumbs in, oh my gosh, this is starting to smell so good. It's the fried smell, that's probably too noisy, I won't do that. The fried smell, I don't know what makes it so good. It has a very distinctive smell. It's not like hamburgers. I just think it's the combination of all the wonderful ingredients that we put into it. Okay, so I'm just going to put these in the freezer for later, and we will use them some other time. And then I'll clean this up later, rinse it out. So what I'm doing is I am going to flip these over with this, with a some tongs. Let's see. You know what? I take it back. I'm going to flip it over with a spoon because I want to get underneath it, and I think it's easier this way. Yeah, that's easier. So, yeah, these are getting brown, good and brown, just like you want them. And you know, as I said, they don't have to be cooked all the way through, but a little brown crust would be great. Have you all met Cricket? Cricket's right down here. And I don't think the camera can get to her. Oh my gosh, these smell good. I think I actually put more oil than I needed in here, because maybe that's why it smells so good. But man, these, I can already tell they're going to be great. Okay, so one thing I could do, you know, if you're in a hurry and you're planning on, you know, you want to eat as soon as possible, you could go on and turn your water on for your spaghetti and go on and cook it. Because honestly, if you're in a super big hurry, you don't have to make the pasta sauce. You could just get it from a jar and then put it in the pan. We're going to take out the grease in a minute and make pasta sauce. But you could just use pasta sauce in a bottle or a jar and then put the meatballs back in to simmer for a few minutes, and then you'd be done. And so what we've got 30 minutes left. You could have this done in 10 or 15 more minutes if you wanted to. But we're going to make it the longer way. So but I'll go on and cook the spaghetti. Why not? I bought this super, okay, I used to think, spaghetti doesn't matter. You can just buy any kind of cheap old spaghetti, American made, whatever you want. In fact, I think there's one called American Beauty, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, I bought some really good pasta from Italy. Do you know that store? One just opened up here in Dallas, and they have all these great products from Italy. And I bought some wonderful pasta, or fancier pasta than I'm used to, and I thought, it won't make any difference. Oh my gosh, it was better than the pasta I usually buy. So now I'm kind of splurging, and I'm going to do a little taste. I bought this at Central Market grocery store, and it's pasta from someplace, from Naples, Napoli, and they had a big sign at Central Market that said they make the best pasta. So we shall see if it's worth it. You know, I might have just gotten lucky, or maybe I was really hungry last time, but we'll see if this is better than as good as I remember. So anyway, so here we go. I'm doing the meatballs, just kind of turning them to make sure they're browned on all sides. It doesn't have to be perfect. Trust me, like that one. Okay, I'm going to start taking some of these out. And I'm going to do that by putting them on a paper towel and kind of letting them absorb the grease. I'll just put that out there. Like I think this one's, you know, it's browned on all sides, so I'm gonna take it out. Let's see, this one, it's pretty brown. This one could be a little browner. I'm going to take a little picture of this with my camera on my phone so that when I make a video of this, people will know what it looks like. There it goes. Video. There it goes. And then here are the meatballs. Let's see, these are just about done. See, it doesn't take long, does it, to cook these? I mean, super fast, I'd say. Taking these all out. So one thing I miss about, well, there are lots of things I missed during the pandemic, but one thing is going to nice restaurants. I think, okay, we went to a restaurant the other night because I've had my vaccine, both my vaccines actually, and we went the other night out to dinner, and we were almost giddy. It's like we could not believe how long it had been. I think I went out to one restaurant in a year. But that was fun. We went to a Mexican restaurant here in town. This is our favorite Mexican restaurant, and that's one thing I want to make next time, or you know, sometime very soon, is some good yummy Tex-Mex, because you know, a lot of Tex-Mex is better in the restaurant, but it doesn't have to be. Okay, this is not as hot as it was for some reason. I'm going to taste this and let you know. It's wonderful. It's got that, it's just got a very rich, I don't know how to describe it, very rich flavor. It's wonderful. And then when you add the tomato sauce on, it's even better. So far so good. Interestingly, I probably could have put more nutmeg in it because it doesn't have a lot of nutmeg flavor, but that's okay. That's probably not a problem. So that's boiling away or simmering away. Take a few more minutes to do that. While that's happening, we can start cutting up a tomato. We're supposed to cut just a half a tomato. A cup of tomato, of sliced, diced tomato. Once again, I may put a little bit extra in because I just think it adds more flavor, right? And it's going to be cooked, so it's not like you're, you know, having a bunch of raw flavor. And so I am horrible at knife skills, as you can see. That's a lot of tomato. I may not use all that. And you know, that's the thing. Home cooks may not have great knife skills, may not have great, I don't know, what are other things that chefs have. But that doesn't mean their food is any less tasty. Chefs, you know, have to do it for a ton of people every night. And that's to me, that their great skill that home cooks really can't do is that they're not cooking for 100 people or 50 people and having all different courses coming out at the correct time, and the different dishes for the same table coming out at the right time. Luckily, that must be almost impossible. I don't know how they do it. Okay, so I'm just going to put that in. That's a little bit over a cup for sure. And I can hear this sizzling away, so it's obviously cooking pretty fast now. I'm going to turn it over. Yep. There you go. You know, yeah, that's getting brown quickly. Not burned yet, but it's definitely brown. And really, I did not need this much oil in here. If you wanted to make it a little more healthy, I would say, you wouldn't need that much oil. That's fine. And then I'm going to put some garlic in. Let's see what else. Oh, and red wine. Of course, my red wine. So one thing Central Market has, which I just love, and I take it with us to whenever we go to Colorado, I take as much of this as I can, is that they give you these packages of what do you call it? Pre-skinned, I guess, garlic cloves, and it saves so much time. I just love it. So this calls for 1.5 teaspoons of chopped garlic. Once again, I'm going for extra because there's nothing wrong with that. That's probably 2 tablespoons worth, and I'm going to go for that. That's twice as much. Not a problem. So I'm going to take these little, I just don't like these little ends, these little brown ends, but taking those off. And then those meatballs will be about ready to come out. And I'm going to do that there. And then, yeah, turn that one over a little bit. Pull these out. And just let them soak up that grease a little bit on the paper plate, the paper towel. In fact, I'm going to turn this off because it can be cooling a bit. That can come out. Okay, so I've got these yummy looking meatballs. You can see, they're all crispy and yummy. And I'm gonna let this cool just a bit, and I'm gonna pour out the excess grease, maybe leaving just a little bit in there. The idea is that, you know, there are all these good bits of meat down there and great flavoring. I don't want to get rid of all that immediately or completely. And I'm gonna use that leftover oil to fry the onions and then quickly fry the garlics before I add the tomato sauce and the other ingredients. So why don't I'll start, well, I'm gonna put this here. Oh, I know what I was gonna do. I was gonna open the can of this. So I have got 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes here, or you could use tomato puree. I love these crushed tomatoes because these in and of themselves make a great sauce. So I'd go for them. For some reason it's fun to make your own sauce. And honestly, some of those canned ones or jarred ones are as good as the homemade, right? I mean, maybe you have your favorite. honestly, if I wasn't trying to make this recipe just like basically she suggests, I probably would. If I was in a hurry, I would not hesitate to use a jar of tomato sauce. And in fact, this is not, I should mention, it's not exactly her recipe because she had some parsley and chopped parsley in the meatballs. And I mean, I'm sure it's wonderful, but it's just one more thing to buy. I never use a whole bunch of parsley, and it's just, there's always some left over, and it's just kind of a pain to use, so I'm just leaving it out. I'm sure this will be wonderful without it. I'm not worried. Okay, so I have got an empty can here from the other night, and I am going to pour the excess grease into that. This is kind of disgusting. It's not good enough for cooking. You know, if it was, and there's some kind of brown, really brown bits in there. I'm gonna take some of those out. If it was clear oil that didn't look like it had gotten burned stuff in it, I'd definitely use it again, but not right now. So these are little brown bits. They'd probably be fine in there, but I'm just taking them out. I'm going to add I'm going to add a little more oil, a little bit of olive oil, just because I think it could use a little bit more olive oil for cooking the onions. And so our water over here is boiling. Let's see how long these are supposed to, I bet they're supposed to cook, what, 12 to 15 minutes, something like that. Let's see what they say. For 12 to, oh my gosh, I had it exactly right, 12 to 15 minutes. So we have got 16 minutes left. So we'll go on and cook them, so we're on schedule. I'm not going to eat right now. I'm going to actually let my, I'm just going to cook half of them now, just a few, and then I'll cook more later because I'm not really eating dinner until a couple of hours from now. But I do want to try these and see how they are. Oh wow, interesting. See, they're not. It's like little tongs. See, little tongs of spaghetti. So I'm just going to use a little bit of these right now. Enough for one serving, so we can see how it looks, and we will officially. There we go. Stick that in. Use these to go in there. There. Okay, those aren't going down very easily. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to put the onions in there to cook. Yikes, what is that? I think that was a garlic clove. Okay, can you see crickets going over to eat it? That's kind of disgusting. I can't believe that. He's not gonna, I don't know what that's gonna do for us. So anyway, well, that's okay. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm cooking with one less clove of garlic. Not a problem. She did eat the whole thing. Yuck. Dog. It's raw garlic. I can't believe that tastes good. Whoops. I think just sometimes if she sees people are eating it, she decides she wants to eat it, even though. Okay, so these, I'm spilling these everywhere. Let's see. It's called for 1.5 teaspoons. That's a couple of teaspoons. By the time all that other stuff is gone, it'll be fine. So I'm cooking this. I'm going to get a bigger spoon. There we go. Oh, I can smell the onions. And I'm going to turn that down. I don't want them to, these are going to get brown. That's okay. Because all those bits of meat are kind of, in the old grease, is absorbing into the onions. They will be yummy. They will be fine. So I'm going to let those get kind of crystal clear, you know, how they just kind of get a little bit crystally clear, a little bit clear. And then breathe. So I'm letting those cook. And then I'm going to add the garlic, and then the chopped garlic. And it's more than she calls for, but it will taste even better because of that. And you know you don't want garlic to cook very fast, or you don't want it to cook. You don't want it to get brown. You want it to just kind of get translucent, like the onions. And so I turned the heat way down, and I'm just going to kind of let those simmer a little bit. And then what we're going to do, we're going to add about half a cup or more, because you got to have more flavor, right, of red wine, and let that kind of simmer away, so that all we're left with is the kind of the essence of the wine. It's just that wonderful, you know, richness that adds some depth to the sauce itself. So I'm going to add, it says a half a cup. I'm doing more. And then I'm just going to let that cook away for a minute. I'll turn it back up. And then I'll start cleaning up here, because we've got 12 minutes left. We are going to make it. Can you believe that? There is no way we're not going to make it. And we're going to have cleaned up by that point too. So just imagine, you could have this for a dinner party, ready in an hour. Now I will say it probably needs a salad, but you could pick up a salad, or you just, you know, get some mixed greens and put some oil and vinegar on. That's super easy. We'll do that another time maybe. Just figure out how to do a really fast salad that's yummy. But man, you could do it within the hour if you wanted to, because I've been wasting time having little sips of wine here and there. Okay, so this needs to boil away. It's still not boiling very much. I'm going to turn that up a bit. And I'll put the oils away so that we can enjoy our dinner and not have to clean up later, right? Let's see what else I have to put up. I'll put up these breadcrumbs in the freezer. They will be yummy. One meal for something. Oops, there goes my phone. Sorry, can't talk. Let's see. Still have to put this meat up. I'm gonna put it in a, oh, I don't have any big, yeah I do, storage bags. I do have a big storage bag. I'm gonna put the meat, I'm gonna put all the meat in a storage bag. And then I'm gonna use it. We're gonna make, on my next video, we're going to make lamb and beef kofta kebabs. So good. And it's a great spring thing, because you can grill outside, or you can broil them inside if you want to, but they're just a real springtimey thing. But that's for next time. Right now, we're still finishing up the spaghetti. And this is still boiling away. I put so much into it, you know, so much wine in, more than I was supposed to actually, that it's taken a while for it to boil. But it's getting there. Okay, I gotta hurry, because we've got to get this done. And actually, if we're 5 minutes late, what does it matter? It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Because hopefully you're sitting around with friends right now, having a glass of wine, or talking to your kids, whatever you would normally be doing. We're almost done, actually, truly. So this is still simmering away. It's almost done. And I'm putting all that stuff away, and I'm going to rinse out the breadcrumb food processor, and I'm not even going to put it in the freezer because I just kind of rinsing it. Not much in there. Okay, there's that. Still needs to simmer, simmer, simmer. So after that simmers, okay, got 8 minutes, plenty of time. This is all done. So I'm gonna wash this off. I'll finish it up later so we can chat instead. Okay, do you think Cricket would like this? You haven't met Cricket yet. Come here, Crickety. Can you see if they can see you? Come here. You want a piece of meat? I don't know if they can see. Oh, yes. She's so sweet. She's 12, almost. She's not quite 12. She's 11. But she'll be 12 in about 6 months, 5 months, something like that. But she's very spry and loves to run, and she's just my best friend. That's what I say. Call her my best friend. Okay, so this is getting done. It is almost all the moisture's almost cooked out, so it's now just kind of a thick sauce comprised of kind of the bits of onion and bits of meatballs. I can show you, but it's hard to see, but I don't know if you can see. It smells great. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this will be good. Okay, so that's it, except for all you have to do is dump in this 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes and stir it up. And you know, you could, if it was summer and I had my herb garden out there, I'd add lots of basil in here. You know, you could just add any flavor you want. But to make it fast, you don't need to do that. Just cook like that. I'm just going to taste it in a second and see what I think. You know what could be really good in it is just to add a bunch of pepper to make it kind of a peppery sauce. I love that. Could be good. Let's see. It's going to be great. It's very tomatoey right now. And I am going to add some pepper because wouldn't that be good? Oops, that's salt. Sorry. I'm going to add a little bit more pepper just to make it peppery. And then I'm going to turn this down so it's at a low simmer. And I'm going to put the meatballs back in and just let them simmer in there and kind of absorb that wonderful sauce. And then here's a little piece. I'm going to save that one, and that's going to be my test piece in a few minutes when I just want to make sure everything tastes good. Turn that up a bit. And we are kind of basically done. You could eat this right now if you wanted to. I think it's better if you let it simmer a few more minutes. Now, if you let it simmer too much, then the meatballs do start disintegrating. And there's nothing wrong with that. It becomes meat sauce, which is fine. It tastes great, but that's not the billing for this. The billing is it's meatballs. So, whoops. So I'm just going to let those kind of simmer. I'm going to cover them a bit so they absorb the moisture of the tomato sauce. And then in 3 minutes left, I'll try these. And then, you know, you did it. You did it in an hour. I'm going to pull these over like that. Let me get a little bowl out. And, oh, I'm about to sneeze. Allergy season here. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. Okay. So I'm going to cover that too because I don't want it to, it's a good consistency right now. I really don't want it to get any thicker. I'm about to... Okay, let's see what the pasta sauce looks like. And what the spaghetti looks like too. Let me taste it. Oh my gosh, see, this is why I think it's not done yet. See, the thing about this other spaghetti we had, it was just very thick. There was no thin, it had substance. The spaghetti had substance. Not done yet. It needs a couple more minutes. It'll be ready in 3 minutes for sure. Dinner will be served just like it was supposed to be. So anyway, just remember all the ways you could have saved time by using a prepared jar of marinara sauce or some kind of spaghetti sauce. You wouldn't have to chop up the tomatoes if you didn't want to. You just use one meat, just beef, or pork or whatever. I think beef would probably be great. And, if you leave out 1 or 2 ingredients of the meatballs, it's not gonna mess anything up. They just won't be quite as delicious. These are wonderful. But not everybody has time to make the wonderful version every single day, but they can make a darn good one in the evening they want. You could do this in 30 minutes. Okay, so let me see if these are done yet. And then we'll get a meatball. Okay, these are just yummy. Oops, the spaghetti. Normally I would just drain it, but I'm gonna use this again for dinner. Okay, so here's the spaghetti. Ooh, this is simmering away in here. It looks wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna get this piece right here, and I'm gonna put a little tomato sauce on it over the meat. Okay, and then I'm gonna put a little Parmesan on it, and we're gonna test it out and see what we think. Just a little bit of Parmesan, or if you had freshly grated Parmesan, with your own grater, that would be good, but I'm not doing that. So here we go. It's beautiful, isn't it? Here we go. We shall test it out. I do think this spaghetti, it may be worth it getting real Italian spaghetti. It costs $7 for all of this, but it may make it better. And fresh pasta could be wonderful too. Okay, now I'm just getting the pasta. Pasta's good, but the meatball is the star with this thing. Let me do that. Okay, let me just do this. Very, very good. Very good. It would be such a great hearty meal there we go. One hour off. A hearty meal during the winter. It really does kind of remind me of a good wintertime meal. Here, I'm not doing a very good job of eating this pasta. Sorry. Because it's very stringy. Let me just try it. And I would put more tomato sauce on it. It's good. If I look funny, Cricket's sitting right underneath my feet. She's hoping I drop food. Very good. Yep. Yep. And think of what you could do with the leftovers. I mean, they'd be great, leftover spaghetti and meatballs. But you can make meatball sandwich. Just meatballs by themselves. You don't need to make pasta again. Serve it with a salad or with some kind of like frozen broccoli, just something real fast and easy. This is wonderful. So I hope you enjoy it. It's great meatballs. I hope you try it. Let me know what you think. Send me comments on the YouTube channel, or send a comment to Louise at Keys to the Kitchen. You know, and give suggestions if you have any of what you'd like us to try to cook. That maybe something your mom cooked that was wonderful, that you love, that you don't know how to cook, and we could try to do it ourselves. But anyway, enjoy. I don't know. Cheers. Until next time. Bye-bye.